What's up, everybody? This is Jeremy.
This is Dustin Smith.
Dustin, you're back.
Dustin Smith.
2 weeks in a row.
I knew you missed me.
I thought you handed this over.
I knew you needed me here.
It's the truth. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about
Origins.
Origins.
Oh, we talk about this just before we record
well,
these.
opinions and origins sounds the same.
Origins.
Origin. That's
Origins
such a weird
of the,
word.
It
Oranges.
Is, okay. Origins of the...
Oranges.
Origins.
Why are we talking about oranges? Bananas, apples, oranges.
Hey, guys, we'll see you on the other side.
Here we come.
What's up, everybody? It's another podcast.
Are we on already?
Dustin Smith is back.
I'm still sitting on James.
Back in black.
Listen, I'm not
Sitting on James. People aren't going to get that. It's been a week.
Well, I'm just trying to keep him out of the podcast.
Okay, so you sat on him.
Yep.
It's keeping him quiet.
He hasn't breathed since. It's been a whole week.
James, blink twice if you can hear me.
I'm not even wearing black. I'm wearing blue.
It's true. Back in blue.
Usually I wear black, but
Back
I'm
in
wearing
blue.
black. I'm wearing blue.
Welcome back.
Thanks, man. It's good to be back. You know, last time I enjoyed it so much. I feel like last time you really struggled with your words.
I did, and
You still don't know that
I am
word.
still struggling. Okay, everybody out there in podcast land.
You're going to have to set it up because some of them probably didn't listen because they only listen to this once every quarter maybe. But
shame on you. Go back and listen to the other one. Cut this off Garner, cut it.
I'm going to listen to this podcast.
We're going to inject last week's podcast.
Garner cut it. It's funny because Garner looks like he had been cut off. You know what I mean?
Man, you are on a... See, we try and keep things positive around here, Dustin. And then when you come on, it gets a little bit...
Like, hey, Garner, can you reach that for me? He's like, oh, what? Like the
boy.
thing on the back of the toilet or something. You know, something short.
Oh, gosh.
He's like, nah, it's too high. He did Garner asked for a step stool for the toilet the other day. Like,
no, come on. That's too far. Yeah, he did use the kids' urinal the other day at the Walmart.
Yeah. See? I told you.
It's like, Garner, that's for kids.
And then a kid came in, you're like, oh, the kid's taller.
He's like, you're going to have to wait. He's like, Garner, he's 6. He's got to go pee.
He's like, yeah, but he's taller than me. I hate those kids.
Garner, we love you. Gosh, my goodness.
You told me the goal was to make fun of Garner. You guys
that was not the goal whatsoever.
Oh.
Not at all.
Well,
Woo!
I really feel a lot
love.
of freedom. I feel like when I've listened to you and James, I realized why when I was on doing the podcast with James, I realized that James got to always have fun and laugh because I had to be the serious guy. There has to be one.
Right.
And then I realized when I'm not there, you're more serious than me. Like you
I have a hard time, yeah.
It's because you're from Illinois.
That has nothing to do with
it.
this.
It's a boring, your dialect, you have it's like the most boring,
How
speech
did we get back on Illinois?
And then, because it's who you are, and then you've been super proud of it.
Dude, I am proud of the ILLINI.
I don't know. La. So my thing is then, so when I come on, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let him be the serious guy, and I'm just going to mess around the whole time because I see why James enjoys this, so I'm going to do it for a couple more podcasts.
Yeah, it's
and
horrible
I told
for
James,
me.
and James is. He almost broke down and cried when I told him he couldn't be on the podcast for a little while. Like, I wanted to be on the podcast. I want to do this.
Yeah.
It bothered him
I see a little
bit.
tear in his eye now underneath you.
That
might not be
I think it's because he can't breathe.
I think he's dying. What are you writing? Last will and testament. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Tell Megan I love her.
Okay. So, no, everybody out there in podcast land, I've been trying to think of a word for 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
I need your help. Podcast at herebelions.org. Podcast. I've Googled it.
This is just
I asked my wife.
This is last week's podcast. Well, okay. What'd your wife say?
All right, listen, they don't know.
Your wife
and what
said-
they don't know doesn't hurt them.
Your wife said she doesn't know.
She said she gave me the wrong word, and I said, you're very intelligent and you're smarter than I am.
But you're wrong.
But that's the wrong answer. Okay? I almost said something that would have really got me in trouble. Okay,
Yeah,
so
but she not listening to this podcast
probably
anyways.
not. No. She hears me enough. So podcast at herebelions.org. I need you to answer this question for me. What do you call it when I am trying to be complimentary toward you
Yes.
and you're very deflective of that?
Yeah.
Right? You're trying to downplay my compliments.
Yeah.
And I say, oh, come on, don't be
Don't be shy. Don't be afraid.
No, not even close.
Look me in the eyes.
Where did this go? No, I'm trying to compliment you, and you're downplaying it. That's called something. You're being
A downplayer.
something like that. It's more than one syllable. It's not humble, but it means that. Don't be
there. Don't be that guy.
No, it sounds intelligent.
What?
Yeah, it does. So if I'm trying to compliment you in a conversation and you're like, oh, no, it's no big deal. And I'm saying, no, come on, don't be that
an
way.
Idiot.
Don't be
somebody like
There's
that.
a word for that.
Don't
and I
be
cannot
that
think
person.
If you can.
Don't be weird.
Hey, guys, don't listen to him right now. If you could just email podcast@herebelions.org with that word. Don't send me a big explanation or anything like that. As soon as I see the word, I'm going to blow up.
Yeah. Don't act like you're not prideful.
Not even close. It's one word. It's one word.
Don't be stupid. Don't be shy.
Okay, we're moving on. But help me with that. That would be wonderful. If you send in the right word, maybe we'll do something nice for you. Shout you out on the next podcast or something.
Shout you out.
Okay, we're moving past this front part where everybody gets made fun of and just get into the weird stuff. We had some people send in some good questions and thoughts on the ministry that I don't want to go too long today.
Well, we already have.
A little bit. So we want to answer this quickly, but also thoroughly. And I thought it would be a wonderful way to sort of recap the ministry.
You can't even get one word right now. You want to answer other questions.
Listen.
All right, this is a serious part, though.
Here's the serious part.
Everybody breathe.
Do we have like serious music for this, Garner? Go ahead. Okay.
Pause.
Now, Lonnie.
Did you go through Lamaze classes?
That's a horrible
No,
transition.
wait.
I was being
Just wait.
serious.
Just wait, though.
Lamaze is for pregnant people,
I know,
right?
but think about it.
I've
Think
never
about
been
it, though.
pregnant.
I know, but
once.
Courtney, you've had 10 kids, and every time
3.
your yearly baby is due this year.
You make fun of me, and you have the same amount of children as me.
Yeah, but you're 20 years younger than me. Let's just be honest. So if we're talking about this, the Lamaze classes, they really teach you how to be serious and like, okay, now breathe. You know what I mean? Like, so do it with me because it does help. And I learned it from
I'm not
Lamaze
doing
class.
Lamaze breathing with
we
you,
went
no.
to Lamaze. I'm telling you, it helps. If you'll breathe in your nose and
I've
out your
only
mouth.
done this with one person
will
on
count.
the face of the earth, and that is the love of my
Listen,
life.
Hold my hand and squeeze my hand.
Oh my gosh.
I'm serious. It helps.
You were really serious about the funny
Hold my
thing.
hand. Hold my hand.
All right, guys, we're gonna. I'm gonna.
If you'll squeeze and count to 10. Okay, 3.
Here's the question from Lonnie.
10.
Thank you, Lonnie.
9.
His question is, I would love. It's not really a question. It's just a statement. I would love to see a few podcasts. Well, we're just getting one here, Lonnie. So you're just getting one. I'd love to see a podcast focusing on the origins of each of the ministries.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I think we assume people sort of know where everything came from.
Yep.
Beginning of the world sort of thing. Genesis 1 for us.
For God so loved the world.
Right. No, that was not Genesis 1 at all. So
I really do love James's position here more than I thought I would.
you really, yeah. James
It's
may
the spirit
never
of James right
James
now.
may never come back. We'll just have he can just have the Bible verse of the day, and that's like his insert. Okay. Somebody just emailed me. I think it might be the answer to that question, but I'm not going to look.
Okay.
I would love to see a podcast focusing on the origins because I think sometimes we think people that knows where everything came from, but it's been a long story.
Yeah, it's been a really long story.
Sometimes boring, sometimes exciting.
Mostly exciting.
Mostly exciting. But the origins of our
Till this
ministry.
podcast started.
And it gives us a really great opportunity to sort of explain again the makeup of our ministry overall.
Yes. Yes.
So I always like to say this. Picture an umbrella. This umbrella is called Here Be Lions. And when the rain of the Lord falls upon this umbrella, it trickles down into 3 main ministries.
3 puddles.
3 puddles of ministry. They are growing into rivers and they will take over the world. Sort of like Daniel and the thing.
Lion's Den.
No, Daniel with the thing that hits the statue and it crumbles and takes over,
Daniel's
grows
the
into a mountain.
Daniel.
You know what? We'll talk about that later. So the rain of the Lord comes down on the umbrella of Here Be Lions and falls into 3 main ministries, which we call Healing is Right,
Yes.
All About Worship,
Yes.
and Be Fierce.
Yes.
These are the ministries of Here Be Lions.
They are.
We would like to talk about those.
Okay.
So where did Here Be Lions come from? It was.
Okay, it was Dustin Smith Ministries.
And where did Dustin Smith come from?
So, my mom. I mean, I don't want to get into that. We already talked Lamaze classes.
Oh, golly.
Oh, this could get messy.
Oh, come on! Too far! Okay, Dustin Smith is a wonderful, godly human being that is one of the more serious guys. Okay, never mind. So, Dustin Smith Ministries.
Everybody knows, I think not everybody, but long story short, we were in Kansas City.
Long story.
So I got to Kansas City, I won't talk about, but once I'm in Kansas City, became the worship leader.
Yeah.
Really, all of our relationships with you and James and Garner
That's where all
came
roads
through
crossed.
a worship. We came together as a worship team. So that's the power of really all these ministries. All of them are really birthed out of the heart of who we are as worshipers.
Right.
So that's kind of the cool thing about Here Be Lions. Even when we started Dustin Smith Ministries, we were traveling. We went to World Revival Church. We were a worship team there for about really 14 years. I was a worship leader there.
Yeah.
For about 14 years. We were all together about 10 years, I think, something like that.
Yep.
And towards really probably the last several years, we started doing some traveling. We were on Daystar. We were invited into other nations, things like that. We're doing a lot of different activities. And so we just started traveling, and we set up a nonprofit because people wanting to partner with us and helping us get this message out of what God's doing in the earth, and really got behind us and helped us. So that was Dustin Smith Ministries.
Gotcha.
Well, just a couple of years ago, I was talking to you guys, and I was really praying about how do I wanted you guys to own the ministry.
And we
more.
started traveling and going into churches and doing a lot of ministry under Dustin Smith Ministries.
Yeah. But you guys were starting to speak more.
Right.
Prophesy, lead worship. Garner and James were leading.
Songs are coming out. Yeah.
And it wasn't, it was never meant to be a Dustin thing. It was meant to be what God was doing in us. And so I really felt the Lord say, they can't own Dustin. You can't own, if I ask Jeremy to travel and go speak someplace, you can't show up as Dustin Smith Ministries. You have to be able to own this as a ministry yourself. So Michael Farron,
people would always feel like second class, like I got the second in line here. Yeah.
And but it also makes it one person focused. So it's like this is a Dustin thing, and it's never meant to be a Dustin thing. I know that God anointed really what we're doing, and as we're stepping out, and there's certain things I need to carry.
Absolutely.
But all of us have things to carry. And so Michael Farron and Jenny Riddle and I had actually done a training and some teaching stuff under the name Here Be Lions.
Here Be Lions.
And Michael had brought that to me because him and his daughter were watching TV one night, and a thing came on, and it talked about when the early voyagers would go out, they would find untapped resources or undiscovered territories, and on the map, wherever those places were, they would stamp it with Here Be Lions. And we knew we were going out finding songwriters and worship leaders who actually were the lions, and we were looking for them.
Right.
And the map was actually great for us because that means we can go out and find these lions. So when we would show up, they'd
untapped resources.
Yeah. Well, they would think we're talking about us. Like, here we are.
Right. Here we are.
Here's the lions, But really, we showed up to basically for us to say, here's the lions.
Right. And my parents knew the name of the ministry, Here Be Lions. I told them that story, and they came alive.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Because, even your parents, they're lions. And I think, they've sat in church.
Grew up with them.
They've sat in church for a long time. Not in Illinois.
No, not so much.
It's not as much of a roar. Sorry for those. I have a lot of friends listening to this.
Yeah.
We have people in Chicago. That's different.
Chicago, they're out farming right now.
Chicago's not part of Illinois, though.
No, they're not.
Well, I have friends in Chicago. Don't say anything else.
God. Chi-town.
Hold it.
You guys know there's two cities I just do not
the Cubs
do well with.
The Cubs. Okay.
Chicago and
so
St.
Here
Louis.
Be Lions.
Okay, back to Here Be Lions. We love y'all. God's coming to your city and saving it.
Here Be Lions. Here Be Lions is something that we adopted as this is a ministry name for us, and it's who we are.
Absolutely.
And as we travel. So as we did that, there are attitudes and things that flow out of it. And one of those is the origin of Healing is Right came from a dream that I had about walking into a guy's room who was in a coma. And the dream had me putting a necklace around his neck with an MP3 player on it.
Right.
Put headphones in his ears. And when I woke up from that dream, that guy had woken up in the dream. Mm-hmm. And I knew it was from music. And I knew it was from something that we created. And so instantly we sat down and I started telling you guys the dream. We started grabbing onto it. How do we help people?
Right.
And that's where it really came out. Healing is Right came from a dream. That's the origin of Healing is Right.
Yep.
Be fierce. I think we all tell the story. We were traveling and God started dropping in our spirits every time we minister.
Yeah.
He started dropping in our spirits that you need to go after men. You need to go after fathers, and you need to go after men to start, you know? And that was how it started. And no, even when we go into churches and we didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, you would talk to us beforehand and say, we're not
going after men.
There's more than just men out there.
And then
we talk to the men
the whole time. And God really just started putting on us. So we started a ministry called Be Fierce. We had a men's conference. Now we do men's devotionals. And the intent is down the road, it really needs to not just be about men, it needs to be about families.
Right.
But right now we need to do this right. We need to raise up fathers, and we need to raise up true fathers and sons, because I think women, you know, some of them are like, start a women's thing, and we want to. We want to start Be Fierce Women.
We hear you.
But you know what? The truth is that if men don't become who they're supposed to be, women will have to fulfill that role.
Right, and it'll be a struggle.
Yeah, and so we have to do this. We have to do this first. This isn't against women. This is actually for women. This is so you can own who you are and be who you need to be. But men are rising up and taking responsibilities that they're supposed to take care of and things that they need to do. And they need to not, you know, we found out a lot of them are just, you don't want to generalize it too much, but it's almost become like we'll come home from work exhausted. We sit on a couch, turn on TV. And for us, it's like awakening that you can speak over your family, and you have the ability to awaken a destiny in your family members, your daughters and sons. And so that's where Be Fierce originated from.
Gotcha.
So Healing is Right originated from a dream.
And feeling God calling us to that.
And Be Fierce, same thing. The last thing is all about worship. All About Worship is really it's a really kind of more of a cool thing where years ago, my friend Wisdom Moon started it, and he invited me in to just be a part. I've spoken at it several times, been a part of it. Michael Farron and I have been part of it for a long time. And then just a couple years ago, Wisdom took over stuff with Centricity and then moved to Integrity. And when he did that, he could not keep up with both. So he actually sold All About Worship. And Michael Farron and I have been doing it together.
Ran it, yep.
And it got to the point where songs are being written out of it. So Kingdom Songs started. And so really it came to the point where like, we're doing this.
Right.
And we are worship leaders and we are worshipers. And we love reaching out to worship teams and people. And All About Worship gives us that platform. And so we talked to Michael, and we actually brought worship, All About Worship, underneath the banner of Here Be Lions. The umbrella. So
remember
the puddles.
Remember
this
the
is
picture.
the puddle. Keep in the puddle. Keep in the puddle. And so now it's not something we created,
right?
But it is something I've owned from the beginning in the sense of my heart, and been a part of it, and been friends with Wisdom. We even had Wisdom in today. All of us talked to him about what was the heartbeat from the beginning, because that's what we want to keep the right. We want to
drive
keep the
it.
right.
So that's awesome. I don't know that everybody out there knows the origins of all those ministries. And each one of them you could talk about for an hour of the passion and the purpose and the mission.
Yeah.
You know, even as you were talking about Be Fierce there's other men's ministries, right? Why start another one?
Yeah.
But we've answered those questions, and we want to answer those questions even further. We'd love to hear some of those questions if people have them.
Yeah.
And I do want to throw in there too, if you heard, you know, Dustin just gave really snippets of all of these, but there are full stories. Healing is Right. You can download the app and watch the video of the dream.
Yeah.
So you talked about that dream, but you talk about that further in the app.
Yeah.
Same thing with Be Fierce. It's an app. It's a website. You can download the app and see the stories, the devotionals yourself. Okay, but here's my question that I think people might want to know, because we've talked in length about this.
Yes.
Why, when God gives you a dream about healing, is about somebody putting headphones on their ears and they get healed, they wake up out of this coma. When we're ministering the men, right? And then All About Worship, like you said, that's who we are as worshipers.
Yeah.
Why did your mind not go immediately to Here Be Lions Healing?
Yeah.
Here Be Lions Men.
Yeah.
Here Be Lions Worship, right?
Yeah.
And we've really talked about that, because I think conventional wisdom would say, well, you know, you're dividing up your resources.
Yeah.
But you've talked about it as tools.
Yeah.
So I'd love to, for our audience that goes, okay, why do you have this umbrella Here Be Lions? And then we might go to Spotify and find you as Healing is Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So talk about that.
Well, one of the main reasons for me is because I realize people compartmentalize everything. So if it's Here Be Lions Healing, then you think we're the ones who have to do it. And the truth is, we created Healing is Right as a tool for people listening. If you're listening on the podcast, you have to own Healing is Right. This is about you. This is your ministry.
Right.
God did not tell Here Be Lions to be healers.
Right, right.
God spoke to us and
ourselves,
said, I want you to continue to go out, heal the sick, raise the dead, proclaim the kingdom of God is here. That's what the disciples were told to do. That's what we're told to do. If you're a disciple of Christ, then your responsibility is go heal the sick, raise the dead, proclaim the kingdom of God is here. But not everybody knows how to do that. And so we wanted to put tools in your hands that you could own healing is right. If it's Here Be Lions healing, then you're basically expecting us to come to you and do it. If it's healing is right, then it's basically a proclamation that you have the ability to stand in your home and declare healing is right. And when your kid is sick, you're not waiting for us to call.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that we can't. You know, the Bible says call on the elders of the church and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So there is a community involved in this, but we wanted to create that community.
Right.
That's what healing is right is. There are people, there's a prayer wall on there and people can pray for that. So the reason Be Fierce is because Be Fierce is an attitude, not just a ministry. We want you to walk in with the tool of Be Fierce. Now, we're going to feed that tool, but Here Be Lions, you know that we're going to go fierce. My concern is not us. My concern is you. When you're listening to this podcast, my concern is that I want you to be fierce. We're going to be fierce anyways.
Right.
I don't need to start a ministry for me to be fierce. I'm just going to be fierce. You don't call a ministry Here Be Lions and not Be Fierce. But we did Be Fierce for you. All about worship, we did as a community, as a connecting point for worshipers. We're already worshipers. We're already leading worship. We're already writing the songs.
Right.
We created these tools and these weapons to put in your hands that you might further the kingdom of God. You know, and that's really, I think we've done ourselves a disservice. And I think a lot of people, your perspective is skewed a little bit because you're sitting around waiting for other people to do what God's called you to do. Our job as pastors, evangelists, apostles, prophets, and teachers in this ministry of Here Be Lions is to equip the body to do the work.
Yeah.
What is Be Fierce? It is the equipping you to do the work. What is Healing is Right? It's equipping you to do the work. If you think Healing is Right, it is about us having a healing platform, you're wrong. And I'm actually shying away from it. I want to do conferences. I want to do wellness clinics. I want to do everything.
Yeah, we've talked about all
The
of it.
problem is that if I do that, I'm removing your drive to do it because you see us doing it and you're just like, oh, good job, guys, keep going.
Right.
But we're
You'll
gonna
just attend the conference.
we're gonna push you to do this. We're gonna push you to take that app into Walmart and pray for somebody sick and download it. We've had people walk into hospitals and take that app and download it into people's rooms that did not know us at all.
Right, strangers.
And they don't have to mention Here Be Lions.
Right.
They don't have to mention Be Fierce. They walk in and they go, healing is right. That's an attitude.
Right.
So all of these things are attitudes that we wanted to put in your hands, and that's the origin.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the heartbeat. And so you're going to find that we're probably going to feed it, we're going to empower it, but we are not going to just do it.
Yeah.
This is your job to do it, and we want to put it in your hands to swing that sword. And you guys you're strong. You're stronger than you know. Really, people have tried to, Christianity even has kept talking about all your problems, all your weaknesses, tearing it down like, oh, you're such a sinner, you're such this. And I'm thinking like, no, you're a warrior. You've been purchased by the blood of Christ. Yeah. You have the ability to step out. The same Spirit of God that's in me is in you. And so we're going to empower you. That's our job. Here Be Lions is to create tools to empower you. And we are the umbrella. But you know what? An umbrella does a couple things. It can protect. Yep. Right? It protects you from things, and our goal is Here Be Lions is try to protect you from things, but it also gives you the ability to collect some things. And we want to collect those things that we might be able to resource you with.
Oh, you flipped the umbrella upside down. Let's see. Oh, man, that picture just got better.
Well, I didn't really flip it upside down. It's the runoff, but, you collect the runoff.
Oh, I thought you meant like collect it in the umbrella.
But you know what?
Speaking of which, if people want to donate to Here Be Lions. No.
Actually, that's not even a bad thing. We could joke about it, but you could donate too because
absolutely,
how many things we have going on.
Well, all the tools.
Yeah.
So it takes resources and things like that. So if you've been listening, you'll see a common thread here that I don't know that everybody's caught on to. And I think it'd be a great way just to sort of tie this into a bow here, is you'll notice that Dustin Smith Ministries from the very beginning ended up changing names for the reason of creating community.
Yeah.
Dustin Smith Ministries changed its names to Here Be Lions to include people.
And empower
to take responsibility. So all these tools, as you hear them go through that, are about creating people and tools and communities around those people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's interesting that even from the origin of the umbrella, It has always been about empowering people and empowering in communities to do ministry.
Yeah.
So empower the if you're getting your hair cut by a guy that's lonely and is broken, Be Fierce is a tool.
Incredible.
Okay, if you're sitting at Starbucks like I was the other day, and the person next to you takes out a needle and injects themselves with something because they've got a sickness, they don't need to know about Here Be Lions.
No.
That they do need to know about Healing is Right. And eventually it all starts resourcing, right?
Yeah.
And of course that comes back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
But it's always been about resourcing communities.
We're still going to do it, but we shouldn't be the only ones doing it.
Right.
And that is the power of it. And I think there are a lot of people out there doing it. You're going to hear from some of
course.
those people coming up, even with Healing is Right and some of the things we're doing, empowering people to be a voice. And we want to see more people doing this.
Right. The easier thing for us would just be to throw it under one brand and just do it.
Yeah, it's easier. It's easier.
Right? We wouldn't have to have 5 podcasts,
Yep.
6 websites, apps.
Yeah.
And save money and time and things.
But most of the questions that come to you come out of perception of what they've seen before.
Right.
So they think you're just creating, and we even have people like, how do you handle so many ministries? I don't.
Right.
That's the power of it, is that I don't have to. We are empowering other people to do it. So I don't feel the stress of it or the weight of it, because God didn't tell me to do it. He told me to create it. And now if people don't grab on it, I know there are people out there right now that God's speaking to you, that you are supposed to step out in healing, and you've been afraid. And our job is to knock that fear off of you. It's not to make you feel bad about the fear. It's to put a tool in your hand that might overcome that fear.
Right.
And because ministries have been set up the way they have for so long with just we like to complain about the Catholicism and the priest keeping everybody from the Bible, but the truth is most of you keep yourself from it now. And because there's a system that's set up where leadership does everything for you. And that is not what God intended. God intended for leadership to empower you and equip you. And that's what we're going to do. And it's going to take some time to change the view and the system, but we are committed to it. Long term, I'm committed to it.
That's awesome.
Man, could you tell I'm pretty passionate about it?
Yeah.
I got serious pretty fast.
You really did, yeah. Which I like, because I didn't get any insulting remarks during that entire talk. So, guys, that's awesome. I would really encourage you to go to herebelions.org. There's links to all these ministries.
Yeah.
You can go to allaboutworship.com. You can go to Be Fierce. You can go to the other one.
All About Worship?
No, we already
Healing
mentioned
is
that.
Right.
Healing is Right. So sometimes our heads spin a little bit too, but it is exciting. All of these things are things that you can follow on social media.
Yeah.
You can download apps, and you should, because they're all tools that you can use.
Yes, incredible.
Okay?
That was fun.
Are you coming back again?
Yes, I'm coming. And I'm doing the rest of the month.
I don't know.
I'm doing it. I don't care.
know.
It's hard to keep
I know
him
you
away.
have great intentions, but you get busy,
Yeah.
and there's things to do and places to go.
I don't care. I'm doing it. This is nice for me. And then I'll be like, all right, I need to do something else. You know why? Because one of the reasons we're doing this, because I am going to start a Be Fierce podcast.
We're actually going to be in Kansas City soon talking about that.
I know. And I'm doing
I shouldn't have said that, because now you're going to get texts.
I'm doing a men's podcast. Well, hopefully by the time we come back,
this is
after we were there.
And we're going to Ashland, Kentucky to a church to minister.
Yeah.
Where are we going to be?
We got stuff. We're going to be in Ashland, Kentucky.
I just said
Yeah.
I gave that away. Sorry.
Pastor Phil Fannin.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're anywhere in that area, West Virginia, North Carolina.
I'm trying to remember this is on the spot. I know the name of their church, but
I do
Kingsway.
too. Kingsway Church, yeah.
Yeah, with Jason Banks and Pastor Phil Fannin. Great.
Awesome group of people.
So we're going to be leading worship at that.
So we'll be there. We'll be in Kansas City, and there'll be some other places coming up. So we'll talk about that.
Stuff.
But hey, hope you enjoyed the podcast. I hope you've already followed some of those social media accounts.
Yeah.
Do some of the things. Follow us, what's going on, and apparently
do all the things.
Do all the things. Hey, send me the dang word that I can't think of.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Podcast at Here Be Lions.
We're going to get this word down.
We are, and that person's going to get a wonderful gift basket.
Good, because I'm not going to think about it again after this podcast.
Yeah, I know you won't. I'll be thinking about it for 3 weeks until somebody answers me. Thank you guys for listening. And apparently you should come back and listen next week, because Dustin's going to be back.
I'm coming back.
Have an awesome week.
Bye.
Bye.